Hi, my name is Jason Delborne, and I was born Jason Aaron Dell, the only child of Jade Dell and Greg Dell. And I'm sorry I can't be with you all today to celebrate, but I did want to say a few things about my dad. And I learned from him that a good sermon has 3 points, and so I'll talk about 3 different things in this short tribute. The first thing is that I'm really thankful to be your son, Dad. I feel like I had a wonderful childhood growing up in our household. I know that with all the things that you did professionally and the issues that you cared about, you made time for me. I felt unconditional love from you, and I still do today. I'm really thankful for all the ways in which you supported me and got involved in my life, and also kept enough distance, especially as I was growing up, that I could become my own person. So I'm really thankful for that. The second thing is a memory that I have of my dad. In 1987, my parents took me to Nicaragua. This was during the Sandinista rule. During the Contra War, kind of a risky thing to do for parents to take a high schooler, but I was really thankful to go, and it was really a formative trip for me. One of my memories from that trip is that our delegation of people went to visit the U.S. Embassy after having talked with a lot of different people in Nicaragua. And all of us remember just being outright lied to by the representatives at the American Embassy. And I remember how frustrating that was, and how all of us came out of there and boarded our bus. And my dad really lost it. He was crying, he was yelling, I think he threw something on the bus. He was so upset at the kinds of injustice that he understood was happening in Nicaragua at that point. And I guess what that memory suggests to me is not that I have an out-of-control dad, but that I have a father who has a visceral sense of justice. And I think that sense of justice is something that has driven him his whole life, and something that I feel very proud of him for. And I think it's something that I've inherited too by watching him, by growing up with him, having that sense of justice as I go through my life as well. The third thing is another memory from childhood. I remember when I was young, and the standard question that adults would ask kids was, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember not having any idea really what I wanted to be, but my response was always, well, I'm not going to be a preacher. And that always brought some laughter and some smiles. And as I reflect on that answer, it's true that I'm not a preacher. I'm a college professor at the Colorado School of Mines in Golden, Colorado. I don't talk about God very much in my classroom, but I do some things that are really similar and that draw from my own dad's life that I want to mention. One is that as a teacher, I see my responsibility is to help my students, who are mostly scientists and engineers, to think deeply about the political and ethical aspects of their work. I teach things like science and technology policy to my students. And that kind of deep thinking and thinking about how the world could be different and could be better is something that my dad did every Sunday in church. And so I certainly see a connection between my own lectures and class facilitation to what my dad did professionally. The second is that my academic or research interest is in scientific dissent. In other words, looking at scientists who challenge mainstream views and how they behave and how they challenge the kind of hierarchies that maintain the status quo. And that certainly has a strong connection to my dad as a religious dissenter, as a heretic in the church in some ways. And one of the terms used in my field is the heretics of science. And so that interest in how marginalized views can become mainstream views is really an interesting thing to me in a scholarly way, but it certainly draws from my dad's life. And the third thing I'll just mention about my own profession is the reason that I'm not there today, and I really apologize for not being there. It's hard for me not to be with you all today. But it just so happened that a research project that I'm involved in is happening tomorrow, September 26th. There's a simultaneous consensus conference organized all around the world in 39 different countries, and we're gathering citizens together to talk about issues of global climate change and what their policy preferences are and how those preferences might feed into international negotiations that are happening in Copenhagen in December. And I'm the site coordinator for the deliberations that are happening in Golden at my school, and so I'm unable to be there today. But I see that kind of work as strongly connecting to the kind of work that my own dad did during his professional career. And so there's a certain pride in being involved in that, even though it takes me away from you today. The last thing I'd like to do is just to recognize that one of the great legacies of Greg Dell which might not be apparent to all of you, is that he has 2 wonderful granddaughters, and I'd just like them to have a chance to say hello today.
Hi, I'm Tonya Delbornes, and I'm Greg's daughter-in-law.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm 9 years old, and one thing I like about Bubba is he taught me to cross my eyes. Hi, my name is Ramona, and I'm 5 years old. And one thing I like about Bubba is that he is really funny and he cheers me up.
We love you, Bubba!
Congratulations! Woohoo!
So thanks very much for giving me the time to talk today, for listening, and for giving me a chance to participate in this wonderful celebration of what my dad has done. I'm really proud of you, Dad. I love you.